Welcome back to the Slippery Slope. I am Jay Fallon, and today going to be looking at something that's it's been unfolding in New South Wales. Something that confirms what many of us have been warning about for a long time. I'm not just saying this as someone who gets on YouTube and Spotify and that and talks. I'm saying many of you listeners have been talking about this as well. You can all see, and I know it going by the comments that everyone puts up. Everyone could see that this was coming.
Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Get my head down low.
In December 2025, obviously, we've all seen what's happened, the tragedy that struck Bondi Beach. Two cowardly men. Men is probably, anyway, these people targeted a Jewish Hanukkah gathering, killing 15 people in what authorities have called a terrorist attack. It was horrific, it was heartbreaking, and it was exactly the kind of crisis that governments use to justify sweeping changes. Also, the kind of crisis that I pointed out could have been prevented very easily. Police, there are people in the police, in New South Wales Police, who have not done their role properly. They have not performed their role properly. They have not undergone risk assessments that they should have done before this celebration was put into place. They should have done some risk assessments. They should have been looking over the event, working out exactly what kind of security and what kind of police presence were needed. You could see the risks because the government had allowed such vile behavior over the last couple of years. They'd not just allowed the temperature to rise, but they have fanned the flames of hatred in our nation, whether it be Queensland government, New South Wales government, Victorian government, the federal government. They've all done it. They have all done it. They've all been guilty of fanning the flames of hatred across our nation and allowing people who believe in this kind of disgusting belief system that you can have this kind of hatred, that is perfectly justifiable to take this kind of violence out against a group of people, all because you think that something else that's happening in another part of the world can be dealt with here. And the government has allowed that. The government has fanned these flames. So, as I said, within days, the New South Wales government, they've recalled Parliament and passed what they're calling the toughest gun laws in the country, along with new restrictions on protests and speech. So, what the new laws are actually doing, these laws give police the power to temporarily ban protests. Funnily enough, very funny. I think it's a bit strange. Okay, it says that it gives the police the power to ban protests for up to 3 months after a terrorist attack. It almost seems like, and I'm not trying to say that this is what it is, but it does seem like they are expecting more terrorist attacks to happen. That's what it seems like. Anyway, so they're tightening firearm regulations, and they include vague language around hate speech and public safety that could easily be used to silence dissent. Who could have seen that coming? Groups across the political and religious spectrum, including Palestinian, Jewish, and also Indigenous groups, have already said they'll challenge these laws in court because they see what's happening. A tragedy is being used to justify control. Like I said, and I know this is true because I see the comments, I read the comments. A vast majority of the people who listen to this podcast knew that this was going to happen. So if you've been listening to this podcast, The Slippery Slope, for any amount of time, you will remember an episode I did a couple of months ago called "There's a Crisis Coming." Now I'll put the link up in the description. But yeah, it was headlined, "Is there a crisis coming?" I was responding to a comment that was put out by, I think it was Coco Jeffrey. I can't remember the whole username. Coco Jeffrey on YouTube put out a great comment, and I was responding to that comment. So around the 7 minute mark, I said this. I said, there's going to be a crisis coming. some kind of catastrophe, disaster that's on the near horizon. And then the government's going to come out and say, well, hey, because of this, this is for our safety, we're going to bring this in. So because this happened, we're going to bring this in. We're going to extend these laws. And what do you see? What do you know? This is exactly what we're seeing now. A crisis followed by sweeping legislation, all under the banner of safety. Peace and safety. Remember, it's for your safety. Remember the new laws that came in for the online safety laws that came in, banning young children from going online and all this stuff. It's all for their safety. But we're protecting the children. It's not the government's role. It's not the government's job to protect the children. I would say there's a lot of parents out there that need to have a harsh look at themselves and their inability to parent. Maybe they're too busy trying to be friends and not actually parent. But that's, I've already done a few episodes about that. Anyway, that's all I'm saying. They use these things. They use a crisis to pass new legislation, bring in new laws, bring in, put the thumb over us all more. This isn't just about New South Wales. It's a global pattern. Crisis leads to fear, fear leads to control, and control leads to the erosion of freedom, speech, movement, protest, even faith. So we saw it during COVID, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it now. It didn't really take a step back at all. COVID was kind of like we'll put the feelers out there and see how much we can get away with, and now they're just starting to ramp it up even more. So if you think that this is the end of it, then you're not really paying attention. I said yesterday, the Bible warns about a future system, a beast system, where control is total. Revelation 13 describes this world where no one can buy or sell unless they have this mark. That's not just a spiritual language, that's economical control. That's surveillance, that's compliance. And every time a government uses a crisis to expand its power, we inch closer to that system. So, what's the go? You're sitting there going, Jay, what are we supposed to do? We got to stay alert. We've got to question everything. Look, this is probably a bit of a downfall of mine when I was in the police, and this is probably part of the reason why I'm not in the police anymore, because I question everything. There were things going on within the police, and a big part of the reason why I do this podcast, because I was questioning the way they were doing things, and again, this does not make sense. It doesn't make sense. I look at the way our recruitment is done, the type of people that the police in Queensland try to recruit, their recruitment strategies, the lowering of standards, and it does not make any sense unless you want lower quality police officers in there. It doesn't make sense the way where I was working QPS, the way they were treating officers with lots of experience, officers with a lot of diversity, as in working diversity in their background, officers who would question things, but they didn't want them. They would treat them like rubbish. They would be find themselves moving on, but they want younger officers of different backgrounds who maybe don't question things. And this is the reason why we are in the predicament we are in. I believe in Queensland anyway, because they just want police officers that'll be just little yes men. Don't question, don't think about it, just go along with the scenario, okay? They didn't want officers who might question scenarios, question judgments that are coming along, question procedures and operations. So what do we do? I think we need to stay alert. I believe if you're not a Christian, you should be reading your Bible. If you are a Christian, you should read it more. I think we need to question everything. We don't let fear override discernment, and we remember that Scripture has already told us how things will end. So we don't go along with panic, but we need to have preparation. This isn't about politics, in my opinion. It's about truth. So much of what goes on at the moment, we have people standing up and telling us, well, this is my truth. But it's not. It's not actual truth. It's not facts on the ground. To me, it's about refusing to slide down the slippery slope, just accepting what government, accepting what the news tells us, accepting the narrative that's put out there. Question everything. Please let me know what you think. Remember, this is all my opinion. It is not a coincidence, I believe, that we had a crisis in December. And look, we've seen the government come out and say, well, hey, we've got the answer. Look at all these answers. And they come and they just further control. Their answer is to be able to control the people who are already doing what they should be doing. They're ignoring the actual problem. They're ignoring the elephant in the room because that's going to affect votes. That might upset a few people who, in my opinion, shouldn't be in the country in the first place. We can't do that. We don't want to do that. That's political suicide for them. They don't really want to talk about the truth and what the problem is, but they'll continue to gloss over these things, to exacerbate these problems. They'll continue to give millions of dollars to the Grand Mufti, Imam, whatever he's called. You know, that's what the federal government's doing. Check out my other episode if you don't know about that, giving 27 million to the Grand Imam or whatever, the Mufti, Grand Mufti, the head of the Australian Islamic Society, I think it is, 27 million to them, and then he goes out and calls jihad against Israel. You know, but the government says, hey, what can we do? Well, we should control guns. Control guns. All the people that do as they're told, well, we'll control guns anyway. I don't know if you realize this, but people who have a hatred for other people and have decided in their hearts that they're going to kill them, they don't care what your gun laws are. They just work around things. They just go and steal guns. What about the fact that they'd made bombs to go off in that area as well, those two terrorists? You know, but you know, let's not worry about all that. Let's just have tighter controls in other areas and bring tighter controls in. This is all for your peace and your safety, remember, so don't question us on this. We have a crisis. We have the answer. Don't worry about the fact that we contributed to the crisis anyway. Don't question anything. That's what they want. I tell you to question everything. Thank you for listening. Remember, this is all my opinion. If this episode does resonate with you, please share it. Give a like. Give me a thumbs up. If you're not listening on YouTube, you're listening on Spotify or Apple or something like that. Please just think about giving me a like, and a review would be really good. That'd be fantastic. Stay tuned. Everything's just getting started. 2026 is off. Bang. God bless. Thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope.
They just fuel a desire that will take me higher. I'm on fire because nothing's gonna bring me down. Nothing's gonna bring me down. Nothing's gonna stop me now. No more deals to be done. Nothing's gonna just focus on the goal. Nothing's gonna stop me now. Nothing's gonna hold me down. Got my eye on the prize. Gonna sail